In this video, I'm going to show you how to sew a 4-hole stab binding. I am starting with a book that has been pre-drilled, and I'm going to be using a length of thread that is 4 times the height of my book. I'm actually going to start on the 3rd hole down from the top, and I'm going to start between the book and the cover. I'm just going to leave a little tail. I just need enough to tie off the book. And my first step is to hang onto that tail and then go around the side of the book and back into the same hole. As I sew this book, I want to be really careful about not splitting my thread as I go through each hole. So I'm working my way up to the 2nd sewing station, and I'm always being careful to watch where the needle is in relation to my fingers. And so I have gone around the outside of the book. I'm going into the same hole. And now I'm going to make my way up to the topmost sewing station. I'm using waxed linen thread for this particular binding, and you usually want to use a thread that is pretty thick. This is 4-ply, and then the wax is going to prevent the thread from ripping the paper as you tighten up your binding. And so you can see that in this sewing station, there's a little hole in the front section. You'll see it in a second, where it looks like it's disconnected. And this is how it's supposed to look, so don't panic if it looks weird. Now I'm going to go over the head or the top of the book, and I'm going to complete the top portion of this sewing. And you'll see as I go through a hole multiple times, it gets to be a little bit trickier to get that needle in there without passing through the thread. So just take your time and just kind of work that needle around until it comes up really easily. And you can see I struggled a little bit on that top hole. Now to complete this sewing, I am going to first tighten everything up, since it's going to be harder to tighten everything up once I start continuing this. So I just want to make sure that top corner is really snug. Every time I tighten, I want to pull parallel to the spine. So I want to just pull vertically. And now I am going to work my way down. And so this hole has several lines of thread in it. So again, it's taking me a little bit of time to find that hole. And to create these holes, I just used a standard drill. And it's, any paper that gets chewed up, that paper is going to be obscured. Those holes are going to be obscured by the thread. So don't worry about it if the holes aren't perfectly clean. And so now you can see that I am taking my clamps off because the book is held together nicely. You can use binder clips, anything to kind of hold the pages snug to the cover. And I'm going to go down to the bottommost sewing station, or the bottommost hole, and I am trying to pass this through to the back. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the top. I'm basically going to go around the outside. I'm going to go back into that same hole, and then I'm going to pass my needle through the bottom or the tail of the book, and I am again going to go into that hole. And so you can see me do that now. Now I am going to come out that hole, and I am going to finish basically where I started. So I find it's a little bit easier in this sewing to come up through that hole and to then go back into that little space in between the front cover and the start of my book. So I'm just trying to carefully get my needle in that little hole. And so you can see I've poked it through there. And then the last step is basically, tighten everything up. You can see I'm pulling parallel to the spine. And then I'm just going to tie this off. And then when I trim these ends, they will be hidden in the spine of the book. And I'll have this very pretty little book. You can see I've got these decorative end sheets, and it's just sheets of sketchbook paper. And so there you have it, 4-hole stab binding. Super easy and a very nice binding to know.